The sun was glowing, the air was warm, and everything looked like it came out of a wedding magazine. Guests were smiling, the violins were playing, and white roses lined every path at the venue. It was the kind of wedding you look at and think, they've made it. And standing beside my best friend, Noah, as his best man, I should have felt proud. But there was a weight in my chest I couldn't ignore, because deep down, I knew something Noah didn't, something that could shatter him. He stood in front of the altar with the biggest smile I'd seen on him in years, the kind of smile a man wears when he thinks he's marrying the love of his life. And maybe he was marrying a fantasy built on lies. Olivia walked down the aisle in a dress that made every head turn, even mine. She looked stunning, but when our eyes met for a split second, she looked away too fast, like she couldn't hold the gaze, like she didn't want to. The officiant welcomed everyone. The couple stood, hand in hand, and I stood just behind Noah, holding the rings. But in my mind, I wasn't present. I was back 2 weeks ago, in a bar, when Olivia's cousin got drunk and dropped a truth I never asked for, a truth that would sit in the pit of my stomach until this very moment. I watched Olivia glance across the crowd, not at Noah, at someone else. Then he smiled at her, softly, too softly, and in that second, everything in me screamed, don't let him marry her. But I stayed silent, because how do you destroy your best friend's wedding if you're not 100% sure? The music faded, the vows were moments away, and I knew whatever happened next, this day would change all of our lives forever. And I wasn't sure if any of us were ready. It happened 2 weeks before the wedding. We were all at Noah's bachelor party. Nothing wild, just drinks, laughter, and stories from our teenage years. I wasn't even supposed to be there that night. The original plan was for the guys only, but Olivia's cousin, Mia, tagged along because her flight came in early, and she didn't want to sit alone at the hotel. By midnight, everyone was pretty buzzed. Mia was more than that. She was on her third cocktail when she pulled me aside near the back patio, her heels wobbling and her mascara slightly smudged. You know, right? She said, slurring slightly. I raised an eyebrow. Know what? She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper like she was letting me in on some sacred family gossip about Olivia and Ben. I laughed awkwardly, thinking it was just drunk nonsense. Everyone knew Olivia and Ben had dated in college, long before she met Noah. They broke up. It was history, or at least that's what we were told. But Mia didn't stop there. She almost called off the engagement, you know, she added, twirling her straw in her drink like it was no big deal. What? I said, suddenly sober. Yeah, about a month ago, she shrugged. She said she wasn't sure anymore, because of how things ended with Ben. I stared at her, stunned. She told you that? Mia giggled. She told all of us, at the lake house. She cried for like an hour, and then like it meant nothing, she said. She said if Ben had just fought for her harder, she might not have said yes to Noah. My stomach twisted. This wasn't funny anymore. It wasn't gossip. It was betrayal, the kind you can't laugh off. I tried to ask more, but Mia's friend came over and dragged her back inside. And just like that, she was gone, but the damage was done. I sat there alone for the rest of the night, replay after replay in my mind. What if Olivia wasn't marrying Noah for love? What if she was settling because Ben didn't chase her? And worst of all, what if Ben regretted that now? The next morning, I wanted to believe Mia had just been drunk, that it was all a misunderstanding. But once you hear something like that, you can't unhear it. You start looking at people differently. And that's when I began watching Olivia, watching Ben, and waiting for the cracks to show. After that night, something inside me changed. Every smile, every touch between Olivia and Ben suddenly felt calculated, not innocent, not friendly, just a little too much. The next day, I met up with Noah for lunch. He was glowing. talking about wedding playlists and how Olivia had finally picked her dress. She and Ben were up late finalizing the seating chart, he mentioned casually, sipping his coffee. I froze. They were together? Yeah. He nodded. She said he has an eye for layout stuff, aesthetics. Aesthetic, right? What guy helps his best friend's fiancé plan seating at midnight? And why was Noah so chill about it? Because he trusted her. Because he trusted both of them. Because he had no reason not to. But now I did. That night, I checked Olivia's Instagram. She posted a group photo from brunch earlier that day. Everyone was tagged. Except Ben. He was in the photo, sitting right beside her. But no tag, no mention, as if she didn't want it to show up in her feed. Then I remembered what Mia said. She had cried at the lake house because of how things ended with Ben. Not because she missed him, not because she regretted the past, but because maybe she wasn't done with him. A week passed. Then came the rehearsal dinner, and that's when I saw it. A moment I can't unsee. Olivia was talking with Ben near the bar. They weren't doing anything inappropriate. No touching, no flirting, but her body language. She leaned in close. She laughed, tucked her hair behind her ear, and touched her necklace. The one Noah gave her, like a nervous habit. And Ben? He looked at her like she was the only person in the room. Then she said it. I didn't mean to hear it. I was passing by on the way to the restroom when I caught her voice. She said his name. Not Ben. Thank you for helping with the chairs. No, she said it like a whisper, like a memory, like someone letting something slip. Ben, why didn't you just tell me? That one sentence shattered every excuse I had built for her in my mind. Why didn't you just tell me? Tell her what? That he still wanted her? That he made a mistake? That he couldn't let her marry someone else? I didn't stop. I walked to the bathroom, locked the door, and just stood there gripping the sink. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I knew something wasn't right, and if I was going to protect Noah, I had to find out what was really going on, even if it destroyed everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Olivia's lips moving, whispering, Ben, why didn't you just tell me? And every time I saw that, I imagined Noah standing at the altar, completely unaware. It made me sick. The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I asked Noah if I could see some of the texts Olivia had been sending him. It wasn't hard to bring it up. I just asked, how are things between you two? Is she excited? He smiled, but there was something off in his face. He pulled out his phone and scrolled through their messages. She's just been really stressed, he said. Then he added, lately she's kinda distant. I think the wedding planning's getting to her. He handed me the phone, casually, like it was no big deal, but what I saw chilled me. Olivia's replies were one-worded, dry, emotionless, no emojis, no exclamation points, sometimes not even punctuation. When Noah sent, can't wait to see you tonight, she replied. You too. When he wrote, how's your day? She waited hours before replying. Busy. And the worst one, he texted, I love you. Liv. We're almost there. She replied, same. Just that. Same. That word hit me like a brick. It wasn't love. It wasn't warmth. It was cold, distant, almost robotic. But it wasn't just the messages. It was the timestamps. There were long gaps, hours between her replies, except when she texted Ben. Yes, I checked. I knew it was a huge breach of trust, but I couldn't help it. Noah went to the bathroom, and his phone buzzed. It was from Ben. I glanced. The preview said, she said she'll talk to you later. She's overwhelmed. Wait, she said? Why was Olivia using Ben to pass messages to her fiancé? Why was Ben texting Noah on her behalf? My stomach twisted. I opened the thread. Ben and Noah had been texting regularly, but recently it wasn't Ben being the buddy. It was Ben explaining Olivia's behavior, almost like he was shielding her, almost like he knew things Noah didn't. I heard Noah coming back, so I locked the screen and set the phone down. But in those 2 minutes, I saw enough. Enough to know that something was happening behind the scenes. Something that Noah had no clue about. And something that was getting harder for Olivia and Ben to hide. The cracks weren't just forming anymore. They were spreading, and I had to decide. Do I confront her, or keep watching, and wait for her to slip? I wasn't even looking for proof that day. It was supposed to be a chill Sunday afternoon. A quick stop by the venue to finalize lighting and table placements. Olivia had invited everyone from the bridal party. Ben showed up too, of course, smiling like nothing was wrong. I kept my distance, watched how Olivia acted when Noah wasn't near, and when Noah wasn't watching. I saw it again, that shift in her eyes, that flicker of nervous guilt when Ben leaned in to whisper something. She laughed, then looked away fast. At one point, I pulled my phone to take a quick picture of Noah and Olivia standing in front of the floral arch. The angle was weird, so I stepped to the side, framing it through the glass reflection from inside the building. I took a burst of shots, didn't think twice, didn't even review them, just shoved the phone back into my pocket. Later that night, I was sitting on my couch, scrolling through the photos to pick one to send to Noah, and that's when I saw it. Not in the main photo, in the reflection behind them. Caught in the glass, Olivia and Ben were holding hands. Not for long, just for a second. But her hand was wrapped inside his. Not like friends, not like family, like something else. Something secret, something shameful. I zoomed in, my hands trembling. They were standing behind a curtain of hanging fairy lights. It almost looked like a silhouette. But there was no mistaking the gesture. Noah was just a few feet in front of them, and they thought no one saw, but my camera did. I sat there frozen for a long time. My brain was trying to rationalize. Maybe they were just comforting each other. Maybe it was a joke. But my heart knew better. No woman holds her ex's hand like that. 2 weeks before her wedding. Unless there's something still there. I didn't send the photo to Noah. I couldn't, not yet. I needed more than a blurry handhold in the background, because when I confronted Olivia, I wanted her to have no way out. So I backed up the photo, saved it, marked it as evidence #1, and I waited for my next opportunity, because deep down, I knew something bigger was coming, and when it did, I'd be ready. The air was thick at Noah's bachelor dinner. Not loud like a party, not relaxed like a reunion, just a group of guys. Sitting around, pretending everything was okay, but everything wasn't okay. Not in my head, not after what I saw. Noah toasted his friends, raised his glass and said, "To loyalty." The word hit me like a slap. I looked at Ben across the table. He flinched, just slightly, but I saw it. That microscopic hesitation before he smiled. It told me everything. Ben had been avoiding me all night. No eye contact, no jokes, just sipping his drink and staring into his plate like he wanted to disappear. He knew I knew. Later, when everyone got up to smoke on the balcony, I stayed inside. Ben followed. I could feel his presence before I even turned around. He leaned on the opposite wall and said, "So, how long have you been watching me?" I didn't flinch. I just said, "Since you started acting like a guilty man." He smirked, a cold one, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes. "I'm not the villain you think I am," he said. "Then what are you, Ben?" I asked. He hesitated. For a second, I thought he'd confess, but then he shrugged. "I'm just the guy who made a mistake once years ago." I stepped forward. "Then why are you still making it?" His face dropped. That's when I knew. He hadn't expected me to go that far. He thought I'd just suspect. He didn't know I had the photo. I reached into my pocket, took out my phone, pulled up the image and held it out. "You want to explain this?" He didn't even look, just shook his head slowly. "You don't understand, man," he whispered. It's not what you think. I think you're still in love with her, I said, and I think she never stopped loving you either. He opened his mouth, closed it, then walked out without saying a word. Noah came back in a minute later. He looked between us, confused. Everything good? He asked. I forced a smile. Yeah, just some old drama. I could have told him right there, could have shattered his world. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the look on his face. So happy, so blind, so in love. But it wouldn't stay buried forever. Secrets don't die in silence. They rot, and when they surface, they explode. I just didn't know how soon that would happen. The day of the bridal shower arrived, and the atmosphere felt staged. Everything was Instagram perfect. The pastel balloon arch, the champagne tower, the curated playlist playing soft acoustic covers in the background. But Olivia, she didn't look happy. She looked tired, almost haunted. I wasn't invited to the event, obviously, but Rachel FaceTimed her boyfriend in the middle of it, and I just happened to be there. She passed the phone around for fun. When Olivia's face filled the screen, I froze. She didn't see me. She was too busy trying to smile, but her eyes were scanning the room every few seconds, as if searching or waiting. Then it hit me. Ben was supposed to be on a hiking trip that day with his brother, but Rachel said something offhand. That guy Olivia kept texting. Ben? Yeah. She got all weird when she thought he wasn't coming. Noah looked up, surprised. She said she hasn't spoken to him all week. Rachel frowned. That's not true. She was literally on the phone with him this morning. Why? You could feel the air shift. Noah blinked. Once, then again. I saw the doubt bloom in real time. He didn't say anything, just nodded and changed the topic. But I knew. Something had snapped. Later that night, Noah texted me. Hey, do you think Olivia's been acting strange? I stared at the screen for a full minute, then typed back, do you want me to be honest? He replied almost instantly. Yeah, please. I didn't say everything. I didn't send the photo. Not yet, but I did say this. She's been distant. I noticed it too. And yeah, she's hiding something. There was no reply for 5 minutes. Then, thanks, I'll talk to her. The next day, Olivia showed up at Noah's place in a rush, makeup smeared, eyes red. She said she'd been emotional and tired from all the planning, but I watched her hands shake as she poured herself water. She looked terrified, like someone who knew the walls were closing in. And the worst part? Noah believed her. At least, he wanted to, because he pulled her into a hug, rubbed her back, and whispered, It's okay. I trust you. I had to walk out. I couldn't watch that lie. Not again. Not when I knew what was coming. Because that night, I got the second photo. And this one, it changed everything. It was supposed to be just another wedding prep meeting. Olivia and Ben were both there, again. Noah was running late, stuck in traffic. So it was just the two of them, alone, for almost half an hour. Except they weren't really alone. I had installed a GoPro in the back room a few days earlier, hidden, pointed directly at the supply closet where they'd been vanishing, to look for candles. I didn't even plan to check it that night, but something about the way Olivia walked past me when they arrived. It felt off. She didn't say hi, didn't look me in the eye. Her face was pale. Ben followed a few steps behind, adjusting his shirt sleeve. After the meeting ended, I took the GoPro home, heart pounding, palms sweaty. I plugged it in, scrolled through hours of boring footage, chairs being moved, boxes unpacked, nothing. And then, the timestamp, 4:27 p.m. I saw them. Ben walks in first, looks over his shoulder. Olivia follows. They don't say a word at first. She closes the door, and then they kiss. Not a greeting, not a goodbye. A slow, deliberate kiss. Hands on each other's faces, like lovers. I couldn't breathe. I pressed pause, rewinded, Played again. My brain screamed no. But the image kept repeating like a punishment. She was supposed to be planning a future with Noah. But her hands were in Ben's hair, her mouth on his neck. And worst of all, she smiled, not nervously, not guiltily, but like she missed it, like it felt like home. The video wasn't grainy. It wasn't from across a room. It was crystal clear. I could hear their whispers. She said, "He still doesn't suspect a thing." Ben laughed. "And after next weekend, it won't even matter." What the hell did that mean? I sat frozen for almost 20 minutes. Then I sent Noah a message. "I need to see you. Tonight, alone?" He replied, "Everything okay?" And I lied. "Just need to talk. It's important." That was the moment I knew there was no going back. No more doubt. No more shadows. Just truth, raw and ugly. And the question wasn't if I'd show Noah the video. It was how and when, because timing everything would make the difference between heartbreak and obliteration. Noah opened the door with a smile, a tired one, but still a smile, like he hadn't yet realized his world was about to shatter. He thought I came over to help pick tuxedos. Instead, I asked him to sit down, just the two of us, no distractions, no music, no laughter, just silence. And the truth, I plugged in the GoPro footage to his TV. His brows furrowed. "Dude, what's this?" I looked him in the eyes, tried to steady my voice. "You said you trusted her, Noah." He nodded, confused. "I know you do, but you shouldn't." Then I pressed play. At first, he didn't react. He blinked, leaning forward, watching Ben and Olivia on screen. In that tiny supply closet, the way her fingers brushed his chest, the way he kissed her neck, Noah's jaw tensed. Then he whispered, "What the hell is this?" He grabbed the remote and paused it, stared at the frozen frame of Olivia's smile. That smile, like she wasn't even thinking of him, like she hadn't just picked out wedding invitations with him the day before. He stood up, walked in a slow circle, ran both hands through his hair, then turned to me with tears in his eyes. "She said she loved me. She cried when I proposed. She said I was the only one who ever made her feel safe." I stayed silent. He needed space, needed to let the lie crumble completely. Then he asked the one question I didn't want to answer. "How long has it been going on?" I hesitated, then told him what I saw, what I knew. The first messages, the lingering touches, the party, the late night calls, and finally this. Noah sat back down, collapsed really. He didn't speak for nearly 5 minutes. Then he laughed, but it wasn't joy, it was rage. He muttered, "And I was going to buy her a house." He stood up again, grabbed his coat, said nothing else, just left. I didn't follow, didn't stop him, because I knew exactly where he was going, to Olivia, and this time, she wouldn't be able to lie. Noah didn't answer his phone for hours. I knew he wasn't just driving around, he was confronting Olivia, and by the time he returned home, his world had burned down. He walked in around midnight, face pale, eyes red, but not from crying, from pure, contained fury. He didn't throw anything, didn't scream. He just handed me her engagement ring. No box, just cold metal in a shaking hand. "She admitted it," he said, voice flat. She tried to say it was just emotional cheating at first. But then I told her I saw the footage, and suddenly, she had nothing left to say. She tried to spin it, said Ben was just a mistake, claimed it happened only once, that it meant nothing. But then Noah brought up the text messages, the late nights, the GoPro, the closet, the laughter, the smile. He asked her, "Why him?" She didn't answer. She looked away. That silence told him everything. She didn't cry. He told me, "Not once." I think that hurt more than anything. She didn't cry when I gave the ring back. She just nodded, like she knew this day would come. Ben apparently denied everything, said it was blown out of proportion, that it was just flirting, but the video was undeniable. Noah sent it to him. No words, just the link. Ben didn't respond, but we heard he called in sick the next morning. The wedding was canceled that night. The venue lost. The vendors called. Guests notified. Some asked why. Some already knew. Some didn't need to ask, because the circle was broken. Ben moved out of town a week later. Olivia kept her job, but no one looked at her the same way again. And Noah? He didn't talk much, didn't post anything, but he started running. Every morning, at sunrise, like he was trying to outrun the version of himself who almost married the wrong person. And me? I kept the GoPro, not as revenge, but as proof that even the people you'd bet your life on can lie straight to your face. One GoPro, one night, zero trust. The story was real. The pain? Deeper than anything I've ever seen. But the truth set him free.